We're here to talk about the recreation center and what the youth need from us, whether it be activities at the recreation center, whether it's if it's jobs that they need, entrepreneur programs that they need. We're here to hear from them about whether it's safe, where they're practicing at, whether it's safe walking the streets, whatever they want to say tonight, we're here to listen. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to Sister Talia Taylor. She's from City of Dreams organization, as well as her partner, Marquis. Is his name? Marquis. And they're going to, I can't do everything tonight, so I'll be on camera. So they're going to be our hosts for tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's give these youth a round of applause for coming out. Talk to them.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for coming out and actually listen to our children, because this is something that we need to do more often. Find out what they want, what's going to take for them to aspire to get out in the streets. So it's something that will give them attention, to be able to bring awareness. We're from City of Dreams Coalition. We have several different programs that we try to come up with new innovative programs for our children. But I get my ideas from my kids. You know, because I'm tired of looking them down in front of Chinese stores or just hanging out in front of the poppy stores. It's like that's their new recreation centers. We have to do better. We have to listen to them and find out what they want. That's gonna grab their attention.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today? My name is Marquis. Everybody calls me Plex. I'm Vice President of City of Dreams Coalition. As far as my background, I've pretty much done it all. I've sold drugs, I've been locked up for it, I've been rehabilitated, I've become a business owner, I've grown as a man, now I'm in a whole nother level in my life. I run the Philly Hip Hop Awards, and like I just said, I'm Vice President of City of Dreams Coalition. I am the CEO of Monster House Entertainment, co-owner of Urban Celebrity Magazine, among other things. I'm saying that to say that you can come from where I come from, which is North Philly. You can make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. But you have to learn from the mistakes. That's the key. Nobody's perfect. So if anybody ever gets up here and try to act like, you know, okay, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and wave their finger at you. No, because we all made mistakes. That adult that's saying that, he made mistakes too. But the key to that is to learn from them. So I made my mistakes, I learned, and I grew to the point where now I can talk to you and tell you what I did wrong. And hopefully you won't take that same turn. So I applaud all the young brothers in here that came out today, because you don't have to be here, but you came anyway. So can you please give these brothers a round of applause? So we're pretty much here today to hear from the youth and talk to them to find out what's on their minds. You know, we talk all the time as adults, but we want to hear what you have to say, what you think, and what you want. This is your time to let us adults know.
Tell us where you're from.
How y'all doing? I leave Washington, 49 from Reno, West Philly. Just came here to just, feel me, answer questions, just let y'all know how I feel about what's going on in the city, what's going on around our area.
My name is Aiden Cannon. I'm from West Philadelphia, Mantua area. I came to talk about the community, what goes around in it, and
how y'all doing? My name is Antoine Postel. I actually coach these young men, and a few of the other young men in the audience. I run a mentoring program, in my city, basketball leagues, and all types of different things. I was asked by Sister Talia to come out today, just to speak on different things, like the importance, of having mentors and strong role models in these young men's lives to keep them, like as she said, off of the corners, from in front of the Chinese stores, or just doing different things and making bad mistakes. So I say, I just appreciate the opportunity. Like I say, sometimes people can learn from other people's mistakes, like especially with young people. Like I say, I just had a brother just was even explaining his story, and how like the mistakes that he made. Just by him saying that, one of these other young brothers, or just somebody else that doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's young, fucking learn from the mistakes that somebody else made. So I believe it's very important, especially us as adults, to reach back and help guide the youth forward.
When you guys come outside, just to, after you finish your homework or whatever the case may be, what is it that you go outside, you come outside to do? Just to hang out, to chill, like, just explain, like, what is on your mind?
Man, when I was younger, it was like, I wanted to be outside a lot. I just like wanted to just be outside, be like everybody else. But now it's like, there's so much going on in the city that it make you not even want to be around it. It make you not even want to be here. You feel me? Like, it's just like, I want better for myself and my little brothers that's younger than me, and just like my peers in this period. Like, there's just too much going on in the city that can be prevented if we just come together.
Okay. Now, do you think that maybe if we had more resources, if we had more programs, different things that you might be interested in, do you think that would help prevent and deter some of the young men and women their ages from just being out there hanging on the corners and getting into mischief? Or do you think they had something they were actually interested in, they'll actually be more geared towards that?
I think like absolutely, if there's more things for, like, more positive things for us to do, that we all would adapt to that. But it's like, it's a lot of people just like the negative energy. There's a lot of negative energy that it's like they're not even like wanting people to do best in the city. Like, it's not even, I'm trying to explain it. It's like,
So, like, of course, if they don't have anything positive to do, like, you're just going to succumb to what your environment is. Like they say, that idle time is the devil's playground. So if these kids don't have anything positive, for one, like in their community, if all they're seeing is negativity, they're seeing drug activity, violence, constantly, if that's all they're seeing, that's what they're going to emulate. Like that's what they're going to, but if that's all that they see, like, what else do they know? And that's just pretty much how it goes. Like, they need other things to broaden their horizons. If they don't know anything about whether it be a trade or different programs, or like they going, like with me growing up, like, I looked up to the drug dealers. That's all I seen. I seen guys either playing sports or selling drugs. That's what I wanted to do, like, and that's pretty much how it goes. That's why all the kids are. They want to be football players, rappers, and everything that they see. That's all that they see. They don't see the positivity. They don't have those type of resources. The rec centers are closed. Like, in our neighborhood, I know for sure we don't even have an active rec center. Our rec centers are closed. So if they don't have these things to be able to deter them away from the negativity, what else are they going to do?
So, in your opinion, if you had the proper rec center here, do you think it would deter a lot of kids from doing things that they do in the streets?
So honestly, it's not necessarily just in need of a rec center. More importantly than the actual building, is just having more positive role models around these kids' lives. You don't necessarily have to have a building or a hub. It's the individuals that actually deter these young people away from doing negative things. Like I said, I don't have a rec center, but like a lot of these, both of these young men, I had his older brother. I had him since he was like 9, so without a rec center, but it's just having that positive reinforcement, because a lot of these young men don't have, especially male figures, positive male figures in their lives. A lot of these kids either don't have, their fathers are not alive or not just active in their lives. So a lot of them grow up in broken homes. So they just really need just a positive reinforcements, especially in our schools, in our rec centers, in our community. So it's not necessarily just the buildings, but we just need positive reinforcements, more role models.
My name is Carolyn Gary, and I would like to know, when you had a rec center, I understand you saying besides role models and basketball players stuff, would you like something like a tutor in there too, in the building, some help too? Because some of these young people probably don't know how to read and stuff like that, and maybe that would help too, include inside the building, tutoring. Would you like that inside the building too?
That's actually essential, because just how you said, like, so beyond sports and anything of that nature, like, we have to uplift these young men mentally,
right.
Academically, like how you said. Like, there's so many kids, especially in communities that filled with people that look like us. These kids barely can read. Like in the school systems that we're in, like in the environments that they're in their schools, like they're not even environments where they're learning properly. Like our schools are blessed with resources. Like these are public schools in these areas. But you go to a public school outside of the inner city, these schools have all the resources in the world. You go right across City Line Avenue to Lord Marion. That's a public school. The resources that school has is ridiculous in compared to the schools in the inner city.
Right.
So of course, like it is essential.
Help a lot too, because a lot of them, they feel like they tough, they bad, but a lot of them, they really don't know how to read. They don't know how to, and I think that makes them, if they go outside, they cool on the corner, or they sell drugs like that, they cool. But then deep down inside, I know they probably hurting. If they help, it's not embarrassing enough, but it helps to step to the side and get a little tutor help. That'll bring out more confidence in them.
Of course,
So that'd be
I
nice.
Right.
On the recreation level.
That type of program is interesting. Like, what would you like to see in recreation centers?
I would say like more business things and like engineering.
Like entrepreneurship programs,
Yes.
or how to run your own business?
Like, yes.
Okay.
Like grow up as a young black male, do more positive things and things that we could do good for in our community and help the next.
Would you like to see different sports?
I mean, it's like a lot of like everybody like want to play sports. Like that's, I think like
Like there are different kind, like let me be specific. Like say if we were golf, if we were to bring golf or rugby or different things, like that sort of things, like tennis, right here and right into our in our communities. Would you be interested in at least trying it out or trying to play it?
I mean, I think like kids will want to try new things. You feel me? If it's like if they had the option to. Like
Okay.
it's only like basketball going on, like football,
Okay.
like just the regular everyday sports that everybody play. But there's not that many options for them to choose from. So it's like that's what you gotta do. You either do that or you just like out in the streets. When you're in the street. Like I feel like other than basketball, like I can help other people. Like I feel like if there's anything going on with like anything, I feel like I can just help other people. Like they don't have to just be doing with basketball. It can be with anything. I feel like I can talk to somebody to get them out of a dark place. You feel me? Like it's a lot of things that I can do. It's not only basketball.
After basketball, it's 5 years after you graduate. Where do you see yourself?
I like to see myself continue playing basketball, continue my career. But like that's what I want. That's where I want to see myself. Like I don't want to like think that it's not going to happen. I want to keep playing, keep having faith that that's what I'm going to be doing for my career.
Can you repeat that question again, please?
So it's 5 years after basketball. You graduated from college. You may make the pros, but what is plan B if you don't make the pros?
Help the helper. Meaning, come back to my community and help just help the young men.
Coach?
Yes.
Do you think there would be something that you would want out there, just in case you want to have the option for that? And also, like just in case your career you don't become a pro basketball player, do you think, say, if, on top of training and learning how to play basketball, do you think you also want to learn the business aspects of it, like sports management on top of that?
Actually, that's actually what I wanted to major in college, sports management. Like, cause if it doesn't work out, I feel like I still want to help the kids under me try to get where I was trying to get to, even if it doesn't fall through. Like.
So, like the reality of it, like every kid on the playground has dreams and aspirations of going to the NBA or going to the NFL or wherever that may be. And the reality of it is, it's 60 kids or 60 guys that's drafted in the NBA, and it's probably like 100 in the NFL every year. So like, if you do the math, it's like 0.1% of the population is going to make it to these levels. But what's important, like as I stress and emphasize into these guys, like regardless of where you are financially, professionally, like the importance is just being a good person, a good man, and like how he said, like both these gentlemen just said, like if whatever happens with college, he plans on going back to his community, making sure he can help the next generation that comes after him, which is essential because it's, like I said, the things that he's going to experience in his 18 years of life, a 8-year-old or a 9-year-old, these are things that he can teach him from 18 years of experience, and that's what it's really about, just going back and helping the next generation being better than what we were. And that's just the key to it. And like I said, I emphasize that, so much with all my guys.
Hi, my name is Antoinette. Besides basketball, which is beautiful that you guys are playing and doing that, would you guys like to take up like a trade?
Like what you mean by that?
kind of trade?
What you mean by that?
Like going to like a plumbing school or construction and some things like that besides, the sports thing?
Like I wouldn't have a problem after I get out of school, coming back just helping, whatever way I can help, like just in the community period. Like if that's what you mean by like coming back to, like what you mean by a trade though, like carpentry, plumbing, things of that nature.
Stuff like that.
And it never was a thought until just now.
So on that, I don't plan on try and get a trade or anything, but like that is something that we definitely need to emphasize in our communities as well, because everybody is not going to go to college. Like everybody doesn't want to sit to go for a degree. We need, because I know especially early on, like
Please silence your phones. Thank you.
I know early on, like and I actually was just having a conversation with a gentleman earlier today, like in the 70s and the 80s, like that was in the high school structure, like the CTE programs, everybody, whether it was plumbing or carpentry, where we was able to work with our hands, where we were our own entities. So if you know how to work on a car, you're your own business itself, and like that's where a lot of I don't understand why that was taken out of the curriculum, for our people especially. But I do believe that needs to be put in either some type of back into the school curriculum or in our rec centers that need to be implemented. So even if these gentlemen particularly don't want to engage in a trade, but somebody else might. So that is something that definitely need to be implemented in our rec centers.
Just piggybacking off of the young lady over here and some of what you said. I think it's really important that some of our youth come up learning trades, because you get to a point in life where things might not be working out for you. But if you know how to fix some plumbing, how to fix somebody's car, do some electrical work, carpentry, you always can make money. So I don't think you should limit yourself to just, I'm gonna play ball. I had those thoughts too. When I was a young man coming up, it ain't work out. All right? A lot of people around here know me. I was a pretty good basketball player, but it didn't work out. So I moved on, I learned to trade. I work for myself now, and I do have a 9-to-5. So don't limit yourself. Always have options. Don't say I can't play tennis. Don't say I can't play rugby or any of these other sports, because you're limiting yourself. Don't always have your options open, because everybody can't play football. Everybody don't like running into one another. And a lot of times you guys figure it out. Once you get 10th, 11th, 12th grade, hey, I don't think I'm gonna do this no more. And you move on. So basically saying just keep your options open. Think outside of it.
I'm 39 years old. My name is Asante Carter. I'm 1 year younger than Kobe Bryant. I I mention that because I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, and seeing him let me know how a basketball player who's successful life can end up. And I typically heard you guys speak, and I wanted to ask about your interest in, because you mentioned, all of you mentioned coming back to the neighborhood, helping out. The heart is there, the willingness to help others is there, and that's great. I think it's important to know that it's good to prepare yourself as much as you can to help. How much can you prepare yourself to offer something of help? And what I'm trying to hint at is, currently you're learning how to speak to people and talk to people. You have 12 people on the team. You can't talk to each person the same way. Is that correct?
Yes.
People have different personalities. You have to learn the nuances of how to communicate. So talking to people and communication is in every industry, whether it's trades, whether it's basketball, whether it's operating a place like this, any store. I'm sure you know a lot of the Chinese stores don't know how to talk to you when you go in there. Would you be interested in learning other languages, learning communication skills? Also, would you be interested in learning how to teach people how to prepare their body physically, because that's what you're doing, like a physical therapist? Would you be interested in things like that?
And just going back off of what he said, like, you talk to different people different ways. Like, he always tell me, my coach right here, Antoine, he always tell me, like, you can't talk to everybody the same way. You can't always, everybody got different personalities, like you said. I can't talk to him maybe the way I talk to him right here, because maybe he might feel as though I'm coming off a different way. You just gotta.
Communication is key, like, you know, and especially like with these younger generations. Like, I know it was even hard for me, like, being able to communicate effectively at 18 years old. And as 10 years later, I'm close to 30, and I'm still learning how to communicate with people properly. So the thing is, just even how you said, like, we need to have classes or programs that teach these young men how to communicate properly, because there's so much that young people deal with, like in the household, in the community, you know, where they're dealing with different things and they don't know how to express themselves. They're not being taught how to express themselves, especially us as black men. You know, like we're taught that we got to be strong, we got to be tough, we can't express ourselves, we can't show emotion. You know, and communication that has to do with emotion. I literally just sat, like I said, I volunteer in the elementary school in my neighborhood. I literally just sat in the classroom, in the office earlier today, 20 minutes, talking to a 5th grade kid and then 2 6th grade kids about communicating with one another. Because one of them wanted to fight the other one. We thought he wanted to fight him because of the way he looked at him. Because these kids don't know how to communicate. So just even with you even posing that question, that's even something else that we need to look into, Councilman. Like, to having programs that teach these kids how to communicate with each other. A lot of these kids need counseling because they don't know how to express themselves. The things that they deal with in their homes, in the communities, all of those things are important. So even at 18, some of these young men are still trying to figure it out. At 25, people are still trying to figure it out. I'm 30 and I'm closer to 30. I ain't pushing. But I'm
Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from.
Mic check. Okay, cool. My name is Joey Cathos, born Jordan Shannon. My father is Russell Shannon. I grew up right here on 54th and Burgess. Yeah, I'm a full-time entertainer, entrepreneur, young artist, and creative. I'm from this city, from this hood, but I actually didn't grow up just staying in this neighborhood. I was exposed to a lot of creativity, a lot of education, and a lot of resources at a young age because I went into magnet schools. So, like, if I was to go to school, I would have gone to Overbrook High School, or Beaver, or Lamberton, or any of the schools, because that's my neighborhood school. But I always had this, like, passion and drive to just be better and be more, and, like, just experience things outside of just where I came from, right? So I'm only 27. I graduated from Creative and Performing Arts High School in 2010. And once I left, I actually went to college. Was able to achieve a 3.5 GPA, full-time student, while going on tour across the country for an anti-bullying initiative. Because, to be quite honest with you, like, I completely support having things in the community. But I'm from the other side of the experience where I was in this community and they gave me a little bit of help for being different, right? And so, like, science, math, astrology, energy, things like that that I was into, not talked about at all in school. Not to mention the fact that we as, now because I'm an educator, I'm a dance teacher, but it's considered an educator, we're faced with the responsibility to deal with other people's children that's come with a lot of trauma and baggage and things that we do not talk about in the Black community. So that's one piece of it. The second piece for me, because I'm extremely grateful for this space, I'm extremely grateful for Mr. Jones and like my parents and stuff like that because they keep me grounded. There's some other things that I feel like are kind of put down in our community that can help benefit us as a whole. And that could be resources. We're expecting a lot of these kids to achieve great things, but we're giving them close to nothing. And it's like, okay, the school that they're eating in school, the food that they're eating in school is not conducive to them to walk around and be healthy and mentally stable. Chemically, it's all the sugars and all the things that we in the Black community are faced with, the diabetes and the, you know what I'm saying? It's a cycle, and it's a conversation that needs to be had, you know what I'm saying? Because you're talking about sports, you're talking about doing things that are, pretty much like physically and mentally taxing on our bodies, but we're not doing the right things and practicing the right habits to do that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm gonna close this out because I was waiting for something like this to come to my neighborhood, so I'm super excited. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, as a performer, you know what I'm saying, I'm a creative. So a lot of times we're looked at as like, oh, y'all don't have no discipline or y'all don't have no responsibility. But if you change the perspective, a lot of these young kids that are walking around in these neighborhoods are super talented. They have all this energy. They have all of this like, you know what I'm saying? They're aware about what's going on, but they're never really given the opportunity to say something about how they feel on their perspective in a safe space. Sometimes environments like this can be intimidating. So if you meet them halfway, y'all see I came in with the colors. I look a lot younger than I actually am. I'm almost 30. Right? But if you can meet them halfway and things can be intergenerational and you come at them and approach them with the stuff that already sparks their interest, we may get some more traction with that. So the reason why I'm saying this right now is because I'm a full-time entrepreneur with the blessing of my parents and my education in this neighborhood. I'm able to do what I love to do every day, which is run a recording studio and teach dance at night. And I offer that to the Black community. I offer that to this neighborhood. I offer that to Overbrook, where my mom is from. I offer that all the time. So I just wanted to show up and say personally to the young people in the room, because I'm actually talking to y'all right now, there are people like you that want to see you thrive. And we don't look that much different. Our lifestyles are not that much different. But it's how you change your perspective, how you think about your life, and how you value yourself. That's it.
Just phenomenal. So my question is, how deep do you think peer pressure goes as far as stopping the youth from actually, getting further?
Peer pressure is basically just influence. That's all it really is. And I think, just a lot lately, just different conversations and things that I've been having, like just meditating on different things. But influence, I think people don't understand how significant influence really is, because we all have influence. We are regardless of whether we know it or not, whether it's over our little brothers, our little cousins, the kids in the neighborhood, our peers, whatever it may be, we all have influence. And the thing is, if you have 10 kids, and 2 of them have, like I said, working with these kids, you have the popular kids, so to speak. They have the influence over the masses. So now, whatever whether it's in a good way or a bad way, whatever things that they're portraying or that they're trying to push on the other kids, peer pressure, I guess, as you put it, it's the influence, no matter how you look at it. So it's very, very essential, because if they following me and I'm doing something bad, they're gonna do the same thing I'm doing, and I understood early on in my life, the influence that I had, over my community, even the young men that I coach. I watched guys when I was younger than them. When I'm 12, 13 years old, I watched the older guys, or the old heads, how we put it, influence the dudes older than me to do the negative things. They was giving guys drugs and guns. And now them same dudes is doing it to the next generation, giving them kids drugs and guns. But if you're able to use your influence and sway these kids in the right way, you know, and show them better, then that's what's going to follow on for the next generation and so forth and so forth. How the young man who was just up here spoke about it. If all else fails, they're going to know to go back to their community and teach these kids with from the choices and the decisions and things that they made throughout their life, to teach them better from what they went through, basically.
Now, another nice thing, my son is on you as well. For a lot of kids out there, and as we have several different programs, and most of them are free. I always try to make mine free because it's a burden on a lot of these families out here now. But there's a lot of programs from different recreation centers. As I'm going to recreation center and ask them to come into them, but I try to make mine free and get sponsorship because these parents can't pay for them. Do you think because like some of them are ridiculously too high, you know, to pay $25 a day, you know, for some of these programs? Now, do you think that's been a real barrier on even middle class families? Is that like a reason why the kids aren't going to recreation centers? And also another question. A lot of people don't know what's going on in the recreation center, so I think there's a disconnect between the information, the resources, what the recreation they actually have, and the communities. And is that, how do you feel about that?
I actually think that a good portion of how we can resolve issues like that, if there was more parent participation in the things that their kids are involved in. And I'm only saying that from experiencing my best friend, you know what I'm saying? She's like a single mother. She has 3 kids. She's my age. She didn't really get to experience life yet. So even just having normal conversations with your kids about who they are, feeding them, empower them to believe in themselves to do things inside the rec centers, like to do anything, period. I think the peer pressure thing could help with that, because if the kids felt like they were empowered, then they wouldn't necessarily have to just believe in their friends, or like, you know what I'm saying, they would have enough integrity or moral that was brought to them from at home to be able to say, oh, my mom was telling me about this. Like, I don't know if I should get wrapped up in this. But a lot of times the younger parents aren't having the conversations with the kids because the generation gap is so small. But to answer your second question, as far as the rec centers are concerned, I work very closely with Tustin Rec Center in Overbrook. I was teaching classes regularly, getting like 40 people from all over the country though. Like when I tell you it was Asians, black people, you know, just because it was something positive and the class was only $5, and that really only just went back into the space. But I think being open-minded to that and just kind of like forcing it on the people sometimes, like, hey, we got this going on here. Oh, you see people walking by. Word of mouth is still very powerful. Even with social media, it's probably even more powerful. So I feel like having people that are going to be consistent and persistent with making sure that the rec centers are running functioning properly and getting cool programs that the kids are into is like the best way to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But even like how she said though, one of the problems is too, like some of the parents don't know these things themselves, so they can't even teach their kids. Like they're lost themselves. You know, it was a disconnect when they was coming up. You know, so even like I say, you know, people either my age or young parents now, or those that were before me, like, you know, so if you look at it like in the 80s or the 90s, that was the crack epidemic. You know, so a lot of people was the people my mother's age and that generation, a lot of them was dealing with that. Now you got the young kids now dealing with this opiate epidemic. You know, so a lot of people just don't know themselves. So like we need, honestly, we need programs to help these parents. These parents can't read. Like this is the reality of it. Like some of these parents can't help their kids with their homework and stuff like that because they don't know. So we need remedial classes and stuff like that for these parents and these adults as well.
Absolutely. And I really find that to be true, you know, engaging and dealing with a lot of these parents when most of the time it's not even the kids running the streets, it's the parents. When I come home from trips, I'm looking up in the valley and up in local bars looking for the parents, looking for the mom, like where y'all at? I've been stuck with kids 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning with kids because the parents still don't know any better. And thank you for that, because it definitely needs to be said. I do have another question. Now, for the children, for some stuff that they might call geeks, like geeky stuff, or nerds, and I'm just asking a question. Hear me out. Will kids shy away from those stuff that other ones are getting teased? Do you think they'll be more shy?
Honestly, I think kids will shy away from it due to that. That's why I say that kids should have mentors in their lives to show them that that's wrong to do that to other kids. Like what Anton was saying, positive role models in kids' lives helps them in the future. It could steer them in the right direction, and sometimes, hopefully, it doesn't happen, can steer them in the wrong direction. So, yes, I do think that can happen.
Right now, like the younger generations, millennials and down, we are like brainwashed by perceptions of things more than valuing what the reality or the truth of it is, right? So she said the geeks and the nerds and right? And so I don't know what that is because that's labeling, right? And so if you take your perception and say like, all right, so science isn't cool.
If that's what the kids
refer to it, okay. So geeks and nerds and like labels and stuff like that, right? And they don't want to be interested in certain types of things that may be classified as nerdy or geeky, right? So that would be like what? Being in school.
Kids are still stereotyping each other and as that.
But what I'm trying to identify it so I can like come up with some type of resource to it. So like, would that be being in school, staying in school, or doing my work? Okay, cool. So if education is like super important for your freedom, and these kids want to be free, then you have to change that perception in order for them to start thinking about what stuff is cool and what's nerdy, right? And so I'm a big like plant-based person because everybody in my family besides me is diabetic. Everybody in my family besides me has crazy health issues. And that's nerdy to most of the black community. They look at me like, oh, she about to preach all this beast. But the mentality is because of the perception of it, right? And so if we focus more on switching their perception of these things that sometimes we actually glorify, i.e. the stuff that we promote on our social media or how we dress or how, you know what I'm saying? We can be doing ourselves and the kids a disservice if we're not constantly reinforcing how to switch the perception.
Like how you said, if people understand their power of influence, the ones with the influence are the ones with the power to change the perception of the masses. Whether if it's one person who has influence over 5 people, those 5 people have influence over another 5 people, and so forth and so forth. So those we as a people have to understand the power of our own influence. Whether, like I said, whether it be our kids, our community, or whatever it is, we have to understand the importance and the power of our own influence. It's about 30 seconds.
Let's get them a round of applause. All right, we want to thank all our panel. We want to thank our hosts and our co-hosts. Sister Talia, City of Dreams, thank you so much. And Marquis, thank you so much, City of Dreams Vice President. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you bringing the peoples out. Thank all you young people for coming out.
One more time for our young people that spoke up, stood up, gave us a piece of their mind. Sometimes we forget as adults how terrifying that can be. Now, speaking your mind, you don't know what the reactions will be from adults, and for you to do it shows where you're coming from and the heart that's in you. So I applaud you. Coach, I got to see you tonight. I got to see how these young people respect you and seek your guidance. Everything I heard tonight, I took a little piece of. The fact that we have to get more parents to step up. This ain't no babysitting service. Everybody has a responsibility to raise these young men, all of us, and particularly the people who brought them into this world. So we need more coaches, right? We need more leagues. And it shouldn't just be basketball, but but that's the easiest way to get into a sport sometimes. But you coached for the Monarchs how many years? Too many. Yeah. A lot of championships, a lot of trophies, a lot of young people made it out of neighborhoods and on their college campuses because of it, right?
Yeah.
So if we multiply that by a boxing program, Terry,
Yeah.
can you coach?
I train fighters now, yeah.
You train fighters now.
Yeah.
So you can show them a different path, not off of basketball, but through a ring. And then you can't pass the ball in the ring, young man. It's you. It's all you. But you can teach them how to defend themselves and how to not only defend themselves in the ring, but defend themselves in life. Because a fighter don't have to hit first, right? You do less hitting than most because you're being gentle to the guy like, young man, I'm gonna let you live, right? You learn a certain discipline. Please say yes. Just say yes. Say no. I really don't want to know that. We set examples here. But all of us, what we need is in this room. Warren, can you teach cinematography? Can you teach how to get the right camera angle? So we have a lot of talent. I see another coach back there. How many years did you run a basketball team? 10 years. 10 years. So we have the skill sets in a recreation environment right in this room. So there are 2 tracks we have to have, actually 3. We have to have a physical plant track, meaning we have to build a building. We have to find a lot, find money, build a building. And we're going to do that. I hate to scare you, but that's probably the easiest part. Finding people that will invest in a rec center is probably the easiest part. Where are you getting the coaches from? How are you keeping the lights on? Who's going? We sat down and talked about this football league. To field one football team, we talked about how much for uniforms? Rough.
Per kid, he's talking about maybe $250, $300 a kid.
So we have to. So there has to be another track that says, how do we multiply 250 by 30 kids per team? Per weight class. So there's a lot of management that goes into it. The building is one thing. So I'm not afraid of any of that. I think we have the talent to do all of that in this room. My old heads, Mousy and Fudge and Lenny and others taught me bad things. I've translated that into another world. Like, put that money on the table, you know, and I know how to do that. And I know how to be persuasive in my convincing people why they need to invest. That's not hard either. I was a track coach for, 8-10 years with my daughter. As soon as she learned how to do a hairdo, she was out. That was it. She didn't want to sweat. She didn't want to work out. It was over for me and the team. But those were some of the best 8 years of my life. I got to meet kids from different backgrounds, and it was scary a little bit because I came into their home. And I'm going to take a 4x4, which is a relay, out to New York. We're going to run in the Colgate games. So you have to go up, you have to get up, you spend the night sometimes up there. So I'm talking to a parent. Hey, I'm going to take your daughter away, but I ain't paying for nothing. No. First of all, it's already paid for. But if you ask to take my child out of town, I want your DNA. I want your credit report. I want 3 credit references. He better vouch for you and he better vouch for you before you take my daughter anywhere. It speaks to a different mindset of parents that we do need to have parenting classes. We have to teach people how to raise up our babies. And you can't just say, well, I raised my kids perfectly. They're going to marry somebody. Trust and believe you won't have to let go of their hand. So a rec center is more than just a building. It is all of these things these young men talked about. You talked about being, about entrepreneurship. I want to switch to that for a minute because we are going to put together, and we talked about this earlier, Warren, a committee made up of the people in this room to meet with the YMCA people, and to meet with Rebuild to talk about both options. So we're going to do that. What I want to also talk about is, after basketball practice, people still got to eat though, right? I want to introduce a concept called the Handy, it was called a Handy Man Program, but because of the Me Too movement, it is called a Handy Person Program. Ladies, come on, give me something. Right? It's a Handy Person Program. So now what I want to do is this. And before you say, oh, he's talking smoke. No. If you look up at the Wynn Ballroom, I got that done after 20 years. If you look at Presby, I got that done after 25 years. If you look at 53rd and Euclid, around the corner, I built a playground in 8 days. You saw it. 8 days. God made the world in 7. We did it in 8. I'm telling you, we did this. So we can do things. I want to create a program where if I were a young man, let's say me and you are partners, one day I'm going to have on the overalls and my stencils, and I'm going to have my paints and all of that stuff, and you're going to have on the suit that day. You're going to knock on the door and say, hey, Mr. Leader, how you doing? Did you know there's a law that says at your curb you must have a number so that people know what address it is. And for $20 a day, we will put that spray paint down on your curb. And if you want the glow in the dark, extra hotchy-totchy nice, we will do it for $25. And Mr. Leo looked at me and said, I ain't got $20. So, Mr. Leo, because we care about your safety, because if a cop comes trying to get to you or a fireman is trying to rescue you, they shouldn't be playing around trying to find you. So we'll do it. What is your donation at? Well, I got $15. Okay, bet. We pay it. I had 100 houses on my block at Wynnefield. If 100 people, if only 50% of the people do that, that's a nice payday, right? Look at him. Look at his face. Right? So now imagine you do that for the blocks in Wynnefield, blocks in Overbrook, blocks down the bottom. You work with a group of adults to do that. In Overbrook Park, they do, right? They do an Uber-style snow removal. The next snow event, you call that organization, a young man comes out, looks at your, how many steps you have, count them, takes a picture, send it back. They tell you what the price is. They never touch no money. It goes just like an Uber. You do that on your credit card. He does 10 or so houses, he's paid. In the summer, he's coming back. Hey, Mr. Leah, we're cutting grass today. Hey, Mr. Leah, we're doing the Make the Porch Pop Day. What is Make the Porch Pop? We'll fix part of the roof, we'll paint your railings, we'll paint your steps for $100. Right? Now you've developed a relationship with these young men. They're not young Thundercats to you. They're somebody that you know, trust, and have worked with. Right? So now we're starting to create an entrepreneurial experience for them so that they never gotta hustle. They keep it like that. And if you do it well enough, then the 54th Street Business Association, when it snows, they contracting with them. We can do these things. We can get snow blowers, we can get grass cutters and create small businesses. Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X said, control the space you live in. Control the space you live in. Now, the next year we do this program, some of you go ahead and become professional basketball players or graduate. Some of you stay with us. We work with tradesmen to teach you how to change a ceiling fan or a light switch, and now you're really getting into this thing. All right? Manny Green, across the bridge, owns the water ice building where the water ice is on 59th Street. He is a retired electrician. He has a program, and know what he says to young people? Give me 10 years of your life, I'll put $1 million to your hand, guaranteed. I got your attention. I got your undivided attention, right? Because it's real. If you're making 80 plus, 90 plus a year at a trade, $1 million can go through your hands. So if we start to take it in baby steps, and create let me back up. If coach tell me you didn't get a C or better in your grades, guess who's out of the program? You. It's an incentive so that none of y'all get caught up in that system. I'm telling you, I closed the House of Correction. One of our old heads died in the prison. I didn't want to say his name because we on film. The secret to re-entry is never ever entering. Never ever getting caught up. So a rec center is, and I'm going to come back to that, is more than a building. It is a place where we have conversations like this every night if we want to. 58th Street, other side, we can save these babies if we have a place where it's safe so that they, y'all want to play basketball, we play basketball. You want to make some money, we teach you how to make money legally. You got mentors you save. There ain't going to be no beef that take you out. We create these safe havens, we grow up our kids, and the only thing you owe us is when he get old and decrepit and can't run up and down that court no more, one of y'all got to take his place. You understand? That's how you give back. You make it to the pros, then we ain't got to worry about how much them uniforms cost, right? Right. Say it with your mouth now. Yes, sir. All right. That's giving back. Okay? That's all we ask. So, what I learned tonight and what we wrote down is every aspect of what you said. And adult literacy is one. Every anti-bullying is another. Every parenting is another. Trades teaching is another, and sports is what should happen every day in a rec center. The problem is we have to come up with some of the coaching. We talked about coaching clinics and being able to teach folk how to be good coaches. Parent or kids, what is that called? You got to be certified you ain't a pedophile. What is that? Clearances. Yeah. Child clearances. We got to be able to get people to have them. And so it's not just building this building, y'all. It's building leagues. It's creating programs. It's all of those things. And if y'all committed to doing that, building that building is the easy part for me. It's coming every night. You can't let them down, can you? You cannot not show up for practice. Because if you do, what happens?
Well, it's bigger than practice. I got to be there to answer the phone when they need me at night.
It's
mandatory.
It's a commitment to these babies. So, to recap, we want to have a committee to work with first, the people from the Y, see how real that is, and then also identify a space up this street, and we have not had opportunity to talk to the owner, so I won't say who that is, to talk about building a building. If we can get both boxing and basketball in the Y, we can do other things in the other part of the building. So, we can do this every month. I'm willing to listen all the time. If I don't do nothing else, I'm going to have a rec center here. If I don't do nothing else.
There you go.
Thank you.
How you doing, my man?
All right, folks, I think that's about it. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you, Councilman Jones, for giving us an update. Like you said, we have a committee we're putting together. We'll actually be sitting in on the negotiations with these folks to make sure that what you want in a rec center is in there. So we got all the notes, the reason we videotape, so we use it as a game, a game plan. We can look back over it and listen to it, listen to everything that you guys said. So I thank you all for coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause. Again, I'm Warren Davis. I'm just a community activist, that's it. Thank you very much. So give Sister Talia another round of applause and Brother Mark too. Thank you, brother. All right, that's it, y'all.